apocalyptic movies hit different now that we've lived through COVID. Like, all of the things that we see in movies is so unrealistic now because at the end of the day, when it all pops off, I know that y'all are going to be fighting over toilet paper. There is a trigger warning for suicide on this film, so if that's going to trigger you, I suggest skipping both this film and this video. Hey y'all, it's Nate. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. This video will contain spoilers for Bird Box and Bird Box Barcelona, so if you haven't seen them yet and you don't want spoilers, save this video and come back after you do. Timestamps are in the description box if you want to skip through. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So if you're like me, it's been a while, about 5 years actually, since you've seen Bird Box. So I rewatched it so that I would go in knowing everything about the Bird Box universe. So I'm just going to do a little quick recap about it right now. Bird Box is an apocalyptic style movie where Sandra Bullock is traveling with these two kids, literally named boy and girl. And it's clear right away that something isn't right. It turns out that this movie is basically a quiet place, but instead of not being able to make noise, you can't make eye contact with whatever it is that people are seeing. If you do make eye contact, one of two things happen. One, it's so bad that it causes you to unalive yourself. Two, it's so good that it kind of causes you to fall in love, and then you want to spend the rest of your life forcing other people to look at it. Now, Sandra Bullock, who is pregnant at the start of the movie, basically ends up staying in a house with a bunch of other strangers who also went to that house to get away from the chaos. One of the other people in that house turns out to be another pregnant woman. And we quickly learn that the child named Girl was the daughter of the other pregnant woman, and the child named Boy is Sandra Bullock's son. Anyway, one day this stranger enters the house, and he ends up being one of the "let me show you how beautiful it is" people. He kills everyone in the house, and that's how Sandra Bullock ends up traveling with these two unnamed children by herself. When they finally make it to where they're going, this kind of safe haven, it's both the most obvious thing and something that I never saw coming. It's a school for blind people. And they'd probably all survive this because, well, not only don't they look, but they can't look. Now, me personally, I think they could have stopped the franchise right there, but they wanted to do another movie, so here we go. If you're wondering how we ended up in Barcelona, I got you. In the first movie, when we're watching all of this play out on the news, we see that things are starting out in Russia, Romania, and Europe. Now, I'm terrible at geography, so don't quote me on any of this, but I don't think those places are too far from Barcelona, so it kind of makes sense. I also just want to say, apocalyptic movies hit different now that we've lived through COVID. Like, all of the things that we see in movies is so unrealistic now because at the end of the day, when it all pops off, I know that y'all are going to be fighting over toilet paper. Okay, so on to Bird Box Barcelona. Am I the only one confused on when the Bird Box phenomenon became a physical thing? They kept saying creature, but to my understanding, in the first movie, more like a feeling. And when people did see something, they saw something that was unique to them. Now, they do slightly touch on this in Bird Box Barcelona. The guy, who I think was a physicist, says that he thinks the beings take form based on our fears or our beliefs. So basically, they show us what we want to see, kind of in a euphoric or apparently terrifying way. It's really less of a creature and more of a personal hallucination, if you will. The priest described it as looking the Lord in the eyes, and the guy who was hanging on the wall said that they came down from their spaceships to help us see the light. And then our main character Sebastian responds, "No, they're angels." So really everybody is seeing something different. Now, I hate to compare this franchise to A Quiet Place, but I love the Quiet Place franchise. So if you're gonna do a movie like this, make sure you do it right. Initially, it looks like this guy, who we find out is Sebastian, is just trying to find shelter and food for him and his daughter. The first group of people that he comes across really have it all figured out. They have this garage, they have all these buses, they have somewhere safe and dry, and for the most part, comfortable to sleep in at. They have a doctor, and they have a rope system for when they go out into the world. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be great for him and his daughter. Like, what better place than being in a garage that nobody can get into? And then we find out, of course, that Sebastian is actually a seer. So his entire purpose now is to get other people to look at the beings or creatures. Again, not a concept that's new to the franchise at all. There were also seers in the first film. Now, Sebastian does actually seem to have a valid reason for wanting people to see. He's trying to get back to his family. His daughter, who jumped off the building, and then his wife, who got hit by a car before everything even really started to happen. And of course, his daughter, or the ghost of his daughter, is going along with him. At one point in the film, she says, "You just need 2 more, Dad, and then you could be with me and Mom." So I have my thoughts on his daughter. I felt like she just kept popping up like, girl, leave him alone. He's doing it. You don't have to keep coming in every 2 seconds, but there she was. So yeah, his vendetta starts to make more sense, and I'm giving it a pass, but I don't really think it was the best for the plot. When he meets up with the second group of people, I think that's when he started to go against his shepherd thing, because of course Sophia is there, and Sophia kind of reminds him of his daughter. They look to be about the same age. That and the fact that he's the only one who can speak German, so he's the only one who can really connect with Sophia, they end up building a bond faster than I think they would have if that wouldn't have been the case. He even ends up giving her the pendant with his daughter Anna's name on it. Now he works his way through the second group of people people, pretty much taking them out one by one, until just the woman whose name I keep forgetting and the little girl Sophia are left. And for some reason, that is the moment that he decides to do this complete 180 and change his mind from Shepherd and vendetta to I'm gonna help these people out. So they start making their way to the castle and this monorail, and on the way they encounter the typical things, fighting off people as they go and all of that kind of stuff. And to be honest, I think that might be part of the reason why I didn't really like this sequel. It felt very typical, and it kind of felt rushed, which we know it's not. Bird Box came out 5 years ago. They've had an entire pandemic to write a sequel to this movie, so it wasn't rushed at all, but that's how I felt when watching it. It almost feels like a made-for-TV movie. And that kind of sucks because I think that the original Bird Box has such a strong storyline. Eventually, Sebastian ends up sacrificing his own life for Sophia and the woman. And the ending is almost the exact same ending as the first Bird Box movie. They end up at a sanctuary. Sophia finds her mom again. Now, I did shed a small tear when she saw her mom again for the first time. It was a very emotional moment for me. But it wasn't enough to make me love this movie. The woman lets Sophia reunite with her mom, and she goes off to do all these different tests. And she finds out that they're basically testing her blood to see if her DNA has mutated, if I'm correct on that. And they're doing this because they know that the seers have altered DNA that allows them to see these creatures and still survive. And that is how they do an official test to determine who's a seer and who isn't. This is when we also find out that they in fact have captured a creature and captured a seer. And that is how they are running these tests. So basically they're looking for a cure. And of course from that we again get confirmation that the creature is a physical thing. I mean, they captured it, they have one. I do think that they're setting up for another movie. I would watch it, but I would go in with less expectations than I did for this movie for sure. I always like to think of The Purge. The first Purge movie had what I consider to be a lackluster ending, but the movies after that were top notch. Except for that Western Purge that they did. I don't even know how many people saw that, but they did a Western Purge. It wasn't that good. All that to say, you can have a bad movie or even a bad movie ending and come back and do it right again. So I'm not going to hold too much and say that if they didn't release another movie, this one was so bad that I wouldn't watch it, but I would go in with less expectations. At the end of it all, I feel like something is missing. There's a way to do unknown being style of movie without leaving the audience with a bunch of unanswered questions at the end of the movie. I recently did a review on Vivarium, which you can watch at the top right of your screen. It's also on Netflix right now. And slight spoiler alert about Vivarium, I think they figured out how to do unknown being the right way. Do I have questions after watching Vivarium? Sure. But do I feel like I need those questions to be answered to enjoy the movie? Not at all. I don't feel the same way about Bird Box Barcelona. I have way more questions than answers. And overall, I think I'm going to give Bird Box Barcelona 3 golden film reels. I want it more, and I really do hope they do another movie so that I can get closure. Let me know what you thought about this movie or if you have any theories on the universe itself. If you want to keep in touch after this video, subscribe to my channel or come chit chat with me over on Discord, and I'll see you later. Subscribe. Spoilers for not Barcelona. I'm already messing up. I just got started. Rabbit's drinking water. I'm going to put this in the bloopers, but... Oh, she said not for long. They do tightly. His daughter who jumped off the bridge, not the bridge, building. If I'm on your mind, just say that. Brand new Benz, brand new Maybach. Got brand new friends for way back. If you my sign, can't change